Hey guys, MixTemple Free is here, and it's a tool to record, edit your vocals and mix and master it to a backing track. We have recorded some amazing tutorials that will tell you how to get the best out of MixTemple Free, and here we go.
What's up everybody, David here, and I'm gonna walk you through MixTemple Free for Logic Pro X today. Now the very first thing you're gonna see after you choose that you wanna make a new project with a template is something that looks something like this. Now I have my own presets and projects right here. Here we also have MixTemple Pro, our Pro version, but today we're going for MixTemple Free. Now hit choose and MixTemple Free will pop up. Now over here there's some notes, and I actually recommend you read through those because they might have some information in there that you might not know. But let's get rid of that and give us some more screen real estate. Now let's look at the template itself. Over here you have a track that basically just tells you that there are notes you can read, so let's ignore that for now. Here you can insert a reference track. If you are making a song, even making a cover maybe, you can drop the reference track right there, the reference mix, and just kind of gives you an idea what you're going for. Then right here, you can drop your instrumental or your beat, depending on what kind of music you're working with, but you know what I mean. Then next up, here we have a track stack or a folder of lead vocals. And you can see we have all these separate tracks for separate song parts. And why we do that, that's actually going to be more easy to understand once we put some audio in here, and we do have an example session to show you. So that's coming up a little bit later. Just be patient for now. I'm just walking you through the basic template right now. Here we have a track that's called Sidechain from lead vocals. And when I go to the mixer, you can see, actually going to have to show it. You can see that it doesn't have any output. So this is just a track that we can work with. It's going to make our lives a little bit easier in MixTemple Free, but we're not actually going to hear any audio from that. So let's just get rid of that for now. And then here we have all our effects. So you can see that we have, for example, right here, vocal delay for the verse vocal. And there's all these nice different delays we can work with. And you might ask yourself, why not just put all those delays in your session on your mixer? For example, like have them all here. And why do we have to have this bus system and this folder? It just makes it more complicated. Once again, I think it's easier to understand when you can actually listen to it. But this is one thing that's going to make your lives a whole lot easier. And it kind of goes along why we have those separate tracks up here. More for that coming later. Then we have some delays for the chorus. Then we have our reverbs right over here. You can see that. Different kinds of reverbs. We have a plate reverb, a room and a hall, and we have the exact same thing going on for the chorus vocals. And we also have some modulation effects. Here we have a chorus and a phaser. Now, of course, you can always use chorus and phaser, for example, on instruments as well, but right here we're working mainly with vocals, and I think a little bit of chorus is nice on vocals. Sometimes you want to give it a little bit of width, you want to give it that little extra something. A chorus might work very nicely. And then here we have our master bus. Now, if we go to the mixer, you can see the master bus is actually where you're going to insert all of your different effects. For example, if you're going to put a limiter on there, which we're also going to talk about later, that's where you're going to do that. Now up here, we have all these different markers. They're going to help you stay on top of your song and not get lost in it pretty much. If you do have a number pad on your laptop, which I don't, if you're using a external keyboard, you can actually jump in between those different song parts very quickly by going through the number pad 1 through 9. Just try that out right now. You see what that does to you? All right, perfect. And for everybody else, once again, just helps you stay on top of your arrangement. Now, it's important if you do work on a song that you change the tempo to the right tempo, because we do have some, for example, over here, some delays. And those delays are categorized by eighth delay, quarter note, half note, and then whole note delay. And of course, if we have the wrong tempo, that just goes all out the window. So always make sure you have the right tempo. And the third thing that will help you just kind of make your life a little bit easier in MixTemple free are the colors that we're using. So this is not just to be fancy or to look cool. It actually helps quite a lot if you have like your mixer open. You have all these like folders unfolded, and you have like this huge mixer down here. Tons of different effects. It just makes it very easy to see, okay, like all these blue ones, those are a bunch of effects. I want my vocals right over here. And the last thing I just want to show you really quickly before we actually import some audio and listen to some music are these gainer plugins right over here. These are basically helping you setting levels before your plugin chain. So you can see here is where you're going to insert all your plugins. And down here you have a fader. And what we like to do is just set your levels. Let me just get that back to 0. Set your levels before they go into the whole plugin chain. You might have a vocal recording that's really loud, or for example, a beat that's already been mastered. And let's see over here. Just go on here. Hit the gainer, and it's already pre-selected minus 10 dB. So it's already going to bring that level down quite a bit. And then you can still make fine adjustments. For example, here on the fader later on in your production. All right, that's it for the basic layout of the MixTemple free. Now let's get some audio imported, and I'll show you some other tips and tricks that you can use for your own productions. So here I have an example session prepared. Let me just import that into Logic, drop that on here, and let's create new tracks and start moving stuff around. Here we have Billie Eilish for our reference track. Of course, we're not going to show that for obvious copyright reasons. So let's turn down the fader and mute that track right now. But then you can see here we have some vocal tracks. Now, what does it say? These are doubles. So let's just move it to the track for doubles. And I know because I've actually gone through the session before that these vocals have kind of been bounced a little bit wrong, so let's just cut that down right now. What do we have here? Here we have the instrumental, so we're gonna move that right here on the beat track. And what else do we have? We have the vocals in general. I'm just gonna move those to the verse lead vocals for now. Now these are the tracks we have created. We don't really need those anymore, so we can just get rid of them. You can do this now or even in the step before, but let's set our tempo. I know that here we need 90 BPM, so let's just set it to 90 BPM. And let's give it a listen real quickly.
Right session at my house at 5 p.m. This feels like some sort. I just wanna have fun. But sometimes everything we do is boring. Sometimes everyone.
All right. So what I'm also gonna do is just very quickly adjust these markers just so they line up with the song. Okay, now we just have lined up our markers with the song. That's all I was really doing. But what we can do now, first of all, is color the tracks. All right, so now that we have colored the regions, I should say, the tracks were already colored. We were going to color the regions right here. We can start cutting our vocal. So once you have imported all your audio, you can see that we have these separate vocal tracks over here. Now, you might ask yourself, why do you have these separate vocal tracks? Why can't you just have one vocal track? It's all just lead vocals. Well, if you look, for example, right in here in this session that I have in front of you, let's zoom in a little bit. Can see that we have different song parts and different things are happening in different song parts. For example, if we listen to this example session, I'm just going to mute the doubles for now.
My house at 5 p.m. This feels like some sort of
It's kind of like a sort of tender, pretty quiet intro or first chorus. You can call it both things. And maybe let's skip forward to the pre-chorus. Now, for example, here you can see and hear in the vocal.
or a shoulder to cry on.
There's a break in the vocal performance, and I'm kind of hearing like a delay, which just kind of repeats the last note. And for me to do that, I would have to automate a delay right here on the verse track, but I don't want that delay on any of the other verse vocals. So, you know what? I'm going to move that to a separate track, and that's pretty much why we have these separate tracks. You might also want to treat your vocal differently depending on what song part you're in. So first thing you always have to do is go in here and find where the vocal changes.
At 5 p.m. At 5 p.m.
So right here, the vocal drops in level. So let's just cut right there. And then here it switches from the verse to the pre-chorus. So once again, let's cut right here. And then we have another switch up going from the pre-chorus to the chorus. So let's make another cut. And the next thing I'll do is just go through the whole thing and kind of move my tracks around. All right, so now I've moved the first chorus, or the intro in this case,
Crying session at my
to a separate track.
crying session at my house.
So you can hear that's both the chorus, then we have the verse here. And here we have a pre-chorus that's kind of different, like I said before. So you know what? I'll just go in here, and instead of a lead vocal bridge, because we don't have a bridge right here, I'm just going to call that pre-chorus. And I think that's a great example of you can always customize it. So just because we give you this template in this way doesn't mean that you can change it around and use it for whatever it is that you are doing and really make it work for you. So here we have our pre-chorus track right now.
Anyone who needs a friend.
And you know what? That instrumental is a little bit too loud for me still, so I'm going to pull that down even further to, I'm guessing like minus 18 for now. We'll see how that works.
Crying session at my house. I don't know where I've been or a show. Crying session at my
That's fairly balanced. We still have to do some processing, of course, here and there, but right now that's pretty balanced for my taste. And we can turn on the doubles again.
crying session at my house at 5 p.m. This feels like some sort of happiness ATM. You bring coffee, oh, 'cause I make brownies again.
Perfect. All right, you know what? Let's do some processing, because MixTemple Free is not just a mix template, but it also comes with a ton of great plugin preset chains. So we're going to go here onto settings and go to MixTemple Free. Now you can also see here that I have our MixTemple Pro already installed, but today we are going for MixTemple Free. And you know what? Let's just keep it very basic and keep it very simple. You don't have any plugins, that's fine. You can do it all with Logic plugins. And let's see what we have here. We have the chorus, and we have the pre-chorus. I want to do some classic lead vocals. I'm not just going to screw around with anything else, just some classic lead vocals. But you know what? Let's do it on the chorus. I think that's more fun. Pre-chorus is not that interesting. Let's do it on the chorus. And let's just loop this section, and I can show you all the things I want to show you.
Crying session
Now let's do the same thing here. Let's go again to settings on the channel, MixTemple free lead vocals, Logic Pro X, and lead vocals classic, lead vocals. And let's turn the gainer back on. Let's see, yeah, we still have minus 15 dB. That's great.
Crying session at my house.
And I'm just going to show you this example plugin chain. We have a low cut on here, which is perfect for a female vocalist at around 140 hertz.
Crying session at my house at 5 p.m. This feels like some sort of heartbeat in this ache.
Perfect, that works out for me. We have a de-esser.
Crying session at my house at 5 p.m.
Already have the female voice de-esser preset loaded, which also works for me. Now this is a frequency that's a little more annoying to me, so that's why I just turned that up. Let's go to off here.
Crying session at my house at 5 p.m. This feels like some sort of heartbeat in this ATM. You bring coffee, oh, 'cause I made brownies again. Crying session at my...
So you can hear that that's doing its job. We have a pitch correction here. For example, I'm just going to go through this real quick. We have a tube compressor here, which I love to use to add some stuff. So far we've taken out some things with, for example, this roll off on the low end here, or this de-esser, just kind of getting rid of some stuff that we really don't want in our vocal. And here we can actually add some nice frequencies.
Crying session at my house at 5 p.m. This feels like some sort of heartbeat in this ATM.
Oh, I really like that. So here you have your vintage tube EQ, for example, on this vocal at 200 hertz. If you just want to give it a little bit more warmth right here, that's like really nice. Listen to that.
Crying session at my house at 5 p.m. This feels like some sort of heartbeat in this ATM.
I really like that. Let's keep going. We have a compressor here.
Crying session at my house at 5 p.m. This feels like some sort of heartbeat in this ATM. You bring coffee, oh, 'cause I made brownies again. Crying session at my house at 5 p.m. Crying session.
Now I'm hitting this pretty hard right here, but you can hear that it's already working out great for lead vocals. All you really have to do is adjust some levels, making sure that you're getting the amount of compression that you really want, but you don't really have to change around any of the other parameters. It already is working out really well for the vocals in this case. Then we have a console EQ. Let me make that a little bit bigger right here. Now that's big. So let's listen to what this is doing, for example.
Crying session at my house at 5 p.m. This feels like some sort of heartbeat in this ATM. You bring coffee, oh, 'cause I made brownies again. Crying session at my house at 5 p.m. Crying session at my house at 5 p.m. This feels like...
You can hear that it's like brightening up the sound really nicely, doing some great stuff to the vocal. And we have another compressor because you might want to compress in stages. You might not want to do it all at once. And another graphic EQ just in case you have to filter out some other frequencies. You want to boost some specific frequencies. That's there as well. So you can see that, for example, if I have the pre-chorus right here, let's go to the pre-chorus, I can actually do some other type of processing. So let's see, pre-chorus. I want way more compression. Everything else stays the same, but I want way more compression, maybe different kind of compression. So you have all those different options in Logic Pro X.
or a shoulder to cry on, or a shoulder to cry on, or a shoulder to cry on.
Let's say that sounds really, really good to me. I can really quickly do that without changing any setting of this compressor here. So you have two different tracks with two different kinds of processing. Really easy, really quickly done. All right, and the last thing I want to show you here is, let's say you don't just want to use Logic Pro X plugins. You actually have some third-party plugins. Let's see what you can do with that. So I'm just going to jump over here to the verse.
Where I've been or where I'm going, I just wanna have fun.
All right, which is first track up here, and let's go to MixTemple free again. Let's say you have some Waves plugins. Why not? And for this, I'm gonna choose the female, lead vocal female preset here, and it brings up a bunch of Waves plugins. So you can see, essentially, it's kind of similar building blocks because, of course, we're still doing vocals, so we want to get some warmth into the vocal probably. We want to clean it up a little bit. We want to get that sparkle in the high end. But what are we doing essentially is just using different tools. So let's see here. We have a de-esser like we'd have before, but in this case, it's a Waves de-esser. Yeah, that's a really good example. Here you have a Puig Tech EQ, and here you just have the vintage tube EQ from Logic Pro X. Again, we're trying to do the same things or similar things, just with different building blocks. And let's see. Yes, here we have a classic SSL channel. And what I do want to mention is that, for example, if you bring up an SSL channel, the frequency bands are already set to frequencies that do make sense for vocal processing. So all you really have to do is kind of like boost and cut and see what sounds good. So I'm just going to play around with that for a little bit here, and we'll see how it sounds.
I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. But sometimes everything you do is boring. Sometimes all you wanna do is run. Go anywhere and just pretend. Smile on your face, then you click send. Invitations for everyone to attend. Anyone who needs a friend. I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. But sometimes everything you do is boring. Sometimes all you wanna do is run. Go anywhere and just pretend. Smile on your face, then you click send. Invitations for everyone to attend. Anyone who needs a friend. I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. But sometimes everything you do is boring. Sometimes all you wanna do is run. Go anywhere and just pretend. Smile on your face, then you click send. Invitations for everyone to attend. Anyone who needs a friend. I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun.
So you can really see how quick and easy it is to bring up one of those channel presets. Once again, let me go into here, for example, Waves. Bring up one of these channel presets, go through all the plugins real quick. Frequencies are pre-selected. For example, on a compressor, attack and release times are pre-selected. You just really have to dial it in, play around with it a little bit. Super easy, super quick, and right there to get you started. Let's talk about the effect bus system. So as you can see here, we have these separate tracks to do some separate processing. For example, you can see here we have a Waves plugin chain. Here we have a Logic Pro X plugin chain. But another thing that is really cool that you can do with separate tracks is use separate effects super quickly, super easily, especially with our effect bus system. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I think it's easier to understand when you're just listening to it. So let's just stay here in the verse. I'm just going to play that again.
I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. But sometimes everything you do is boring. Sometimes all you wanna do is run.
Sounds really cool already, but what if here in the verse, maybe I do want a little bit of delay, maybe I want a little bit of a hall reverb, nothing too big and too huge because I want it to sound intimate still, but I do want some kind of room information on here. So what I can do is simply go in here and choose a bus. So this is a little bit different than your standard just taking a track and sending to a single effect. Instead, here we're going to send to a bus. So it's all conveniently labeled. So let's say I want to delay, and we're on here on the verse track. So I'm going to send to the vocal delay verse bus, and I'm just going to go to 0 dB. Now it's going to sound a little crazy when I turn it on, but let's just have a listen on it, and I'll explain it a little bit. Okay, like I said, sounds a little crazy. Let's walk you through it. So actually what I'm going to do here is just take all these faders and pull them down so you don't hear anything right now. But you can see we're still getting a signal here on the bus. And this bus, again, is feeding into all of these tracks. So into a slap delay, an eighth delay, a quarter delay, and a half note delay. And now it can just be very intuitive and musical about my delay choices. So I'm just going to play around with it a little bit. I think you'll get the idea once you listen to it. So let's do that right now.
I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. But sometimes everything you do is boring. Sometimes all you wanna do is run. Go anywhere and just pretend. Smile on your face, then you click send. Invitations for everyone, to anyone who needs a friend. I don't know where I've been or where I'm going.
Okay, so you can see that my fader would be somewhere down here, which I don't like doing. So I'm just going to go in here and pull the whole send down 15 dB. Let's see what that does.
I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. But sometimes everything you do is boring. Sometimes all you wanna do is run. Go anywhere and just pretend. Smile on your face, then you click send. Invitations for everyone to attend. Anyone who needs.
I actually like that a lot more. It's still a little bit too loud, so let's pull that down to -18 right here.
I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. But
That sounds really nice. It gives a little bit of room information to the vocal. Not too much. It's not getting in the way of anything. I really like that. Let's move on to reverb. So again, let's stay in the verse. Here we were sending to the delay bus. Now let's keep on going and send to the vocal reverb verse bus. Once again, let's start out at 0 dB, see what it does. Here we have our bus. Let's see if it's the right one. Yes, we want the reverb and we want it in the verse. Again, sounds pretty crazy. I'll show you the single effects. So right here we have a plate that is a little bit delayed. It has some pre-delay on there. Let's take a listen to that.
I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. But sometimes
And I'm also just going to turn off this delay bus so you can really hear just the reverbs.
I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. But sometimes everything you do is boring.
Next up, just a simple room reverb.
I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. But sometimes everything you do is boring. Sometimes
And then lastly, a bigger hall reverb.
I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. But sometimes everything you do is boring.
Especially really like the hall reverb on this one. So I'm going to turn that up quite a bit.
I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. But sometimes everything you do is boring.
Then maybe I'm going to play around with the plate and the room a little bit and we'll see how it works out.
I don't
I kind of like this combination of the plate and the hall, but it's, again, a little bit too loud for my taste, so I'm going to pull that down. 12 dB.
I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. But sometimes everything you do is boring. Sometimes all you wanna do is.
I think this is a great example of you can't really hear the effect when it's on, but you can definitely hear when it's gone. So let's do an A/B here with all the reverbs.
I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have.
I think this makes a huge difference for your vocal sound. Not only the processing that you did up here, whether that's like a third-party manufacturer or Logic Pro X plugins, but just like with those 2 clicks that's sent to the different buses, it makes a huge difference for your overall vocal sound, and you just saw how quick and easy it was. I just have to turn up a fader, see if I like it or not. If I don't like it, I'll turn it down. If I like it more, I'll turn it up more. That's really it, and that's how you can do it with every single track here. If you want to do the same thing on the chorus, you go in here, you choose the reverb chorus bus and the delay chorus bus. Super simple, super easy, really, really a musical way of working. All right, so now we've worked on processing our tracks. I'm just going to stay with the verse right here. And we also put some effects on there by routing it to our effect bus system. What I want to show you next is a little trick. And for that, I'm actually going to bring up that sidechain lead vocal track. So you can see there's no output on this track, but we're still going to be working with it. So sometimes when you have a pretty dense beat or a really loud instrumental, a lot of times these have already been mastered with the limiter on there, and it can be a little bit tough to get your vocal to like sit right in there. So what you can do is really simply take a compressor, insert it on your beat, and then here where you choose the sidechain, we're going to choose a bus, which is going to be our bus 245, which is the lead vocal sidechain bus. You can see right here, bus 245. And what we can do now is whenever the vocal is going to be present, we're going to be ducking that backing track just by a couple of dB. It's really simple, super easy, but you'll see exactly what I mean.
I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. But sometimes everything you do is boring. Sometimes all you wanna do is run. Go anywhere and just pretend. Smile on your face, then you click send. Invitations for everyone to attend. Anyone who needs a friend. I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. But sometimes everything you do is boring. Sometimes all you wanna do is run. Go anywhere and just pretend. Smile on your face, then you click send. Invitations for everyone to attend. Anyone who needs a friend.
Now this is a very, very simple way to do this because whenever your vocal is present, the whole volume of your track is going to get reduced. So no matter if that's a bass frequency, it doesn't matter if that's a treble frequency, everything is going to get ducked down. All right, the last thing we're going to do here is at the end of our signal chain, right here on the master bus. So we've done our processing on the track. We've used our bus system, our effect bus system, to get some really nice delay and reverb on our vocal. And we've even done some very, very gentle side chaining of our beat. And but you can probably see that when I play the song, it's still not all the way up here on the scale, and we definitely want to use all the dynamic range that we have available to us. So let's check that. Let's reset it.
I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. But sometimes everything you do is boring. Sometimes all you.
Okay, so right now we have a peak value of like minus 16 dB. There's a lot more to work with. And what I'll do right now is just insert a limiter right here. But I'm also going to use the multimeter. Now this just gives you a general overview of how loud your track is, and I'll explain everything that's on here in a little bit, or at least the things you would probably use. Now for the limiter, I'm going to keep all these values right where they are, except for this one. I'm going to change this to -1, just to make sure that you still have that 1 dB of headroom. That's really good to have if you're going to upload your cover or your song to YouTube, SoundCloud, whatever you want to do with it. And then now let's have a listen again and see what we can see here.
I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. But sometimes everything you do is boring. Sometimes all you wanna do is run. Go anywhere and just pretend. Smile on your...
So you can see that on the LUFS, we're somewhere around -30 here.
I don't know where I've been or where I'm going.
Yeah, -29, -30, so there's a lot more room to work with. So what I'm going to do now is just start turning up this limiter and see when we get some reduction here on the peaks.
I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. But sometimes everything you do is boring. Sometimes all you wanna do is run. Go anywhere and just pretend. Smile on your face, then you click send. Invitations for everyone to attend. Anyone who needs a friend. I don't know where I've been or where I'm going. I just wanna have fun. But sometimes everything you do is boring. Sometimes all you wanna do is run. Go anywhere and just pretend.
So for example, this would be something that I am very comfortable with releasing, because there's barely any peak reduction really going on, so we're not taking away a ton of dynamics. Our track is pretty loud. We're sitting at somewhere like around -10 to -13 LUFS, which is great for streaming services. They want to see something around -12, -14, depending on which one you ask. And right here, you can see we still have a nice headroom of -1 peak level. So we're not going over that sacred 0 dB mark. So please visit our website, mixedbymarkmozart.com, for all information on this product and also on our other products, for example, MixTemple Pro, that does exactly the same thing, but is a lot bigger. You have a lot more function in there. We have a whole instrument section where you can also mix your band, your beat, and your vocals. Here we give you the vocal section just to try everything out, see if you like it, see if you can work with it. And we would love, your opinion, your thoughts on this product, see what we can do better, see what you really liked about it, and how we can build on that. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.